All right, all right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hot Seat Automotive Podcast. It's your buddy CJ here. And tonight, we're talking about all things automotive industry, the automotive enthusiast hobby, cars, real gearhead talk. This is the place to be for that real gearhead talk with your buddy CJ. Welcome back, everybody. All my subscribers, you know I love each and every one of you, and I'm so incredibly grateful for everybody who's gotten to be a part of this channel, who's signed up, who's following me on Hot Seat Gearheads. We're having a load of fun over there on Instagram. Hit me up on the gram. Guys, if you're new, give me a like and subscribe. And everybody, leave me those comments. You know your buddy CJ responds to all the comments that I can. And guys, I don't want to waste a precious moment tonight. We got some real gearhead talk. Let's get into this. Guys, tonight, a very special episode. We got a showdown. Ferrari versus Lamborghini. The battle of the heavyweight giants for supercars and motorsports performance over the decades. Are you kidding me? Guys, listen, I'm not going to give you an academic dissertation of every model, make, trim, the full motorsports heritage of Enzo's life story or Ferruccio's life story. Not going to happen. Yawn. There's already books written on that. What we're talking about tonight is just the real gearhead talk. Car guys talking about cars, automotive enthusiasts. We're going to talk about the history of both companies a little bit. We're going to talk about some of the key models, just a few. There have been so many incredible cars on both sides of this war. Ferrari, Lamborghini, beyond the scope of this episode to go through all of them. Okay, but we're going to talk about a few of them. Going to talk about the differences in the ownership experience, differences in the driving experience, you know, the differences in the brand, the differences in the engineering, the differences in the approach to performance, maybe a bit, styling, etc. We're going to talk about the differences between these two iconic high-performance automotive brands and talk about some of the legendary cars they've produced. So guys, let's get right into it because you know on this channel, we look at things together, don't we? We always do. So let's start right here with some of the basics. What are we looking at? We've got a Ferrari 308 and a Lamborghini Countach. Are you kidding me? Two iconic supercars from decades of old, okay, that really became ideals and dreams for a whole generation of automotive enthusiasts, okay? And still, to this day, on the collector's market, the 308 and the Countach, both highly desirable, okay? Just unbelievable cars in their own right with so much significance in our hobby and so iconic. But Ferrari, what are we talking about here? Ferrari was founded in 1939, Enzo Ferrari. Did you know? A little bit of trivia tonight. Enzo Ferrari actually worked for Alfa Romeo. Mamma mia, a little bit of Italian motorsports and automotive industry trivia for you. Some of you may have known that in all seriousness. Founded in Maranello, Italy, by Enzo. You know, they built their first car somewhere around 1940. Ferrari went public in 1960, became a public company. And between 1963 and 2014, Ferrari was a subsidiary of who? Fiat Chrysler. So let's not forget about a whole era of Ferrari where they were under the control and the corporate governance of Fiat Chrysler. Okay, kind of interesting. In 2016, Ferrari was spun off from Fiat Chrysler. And, you know, first things first, if we talk about the primary differences between Ferrari and Lamborghini, guys, let's get this out there from jump. Ferrari is about the motorsports. F1, Grand Prix, Formula One. Are you kidding me? F1, Grand Prix, performance, motorsports, racing heritage. Ferrari's all about it. They always have been. Enzo himself was big in motorsports as he was growing up. That's his ideal. That's what he always wanted to be, and the man made it happen. Ferrari just has a rich history up until present day. And if you look at, you know, certainly Michael Schumacher with those incredible wins over the decades for Ferrari, they are just omnipresent, okay, in motorsports. And guess what? They build incredible performance cars for the consumer, and they are a legit supercar company, okay? So from Jump Street, I claim the big difference between Ferrari and Lamborghini is that Ferrari, big on motorsports. Motorsports first, race car first, everything else second. From a Ferrari standpoint, that's just the way it's always been. And then we talk about Lamborghini. Now, Ferruccio Lamborghini founded Lamborghini in Bologna. Okay, we're talking 1963, so a little bit later than Ferrari. Okay, and Ferruccio was a businessman. He was into equipment manufacturing and other areas. Legend has it, I should say, that him and Enzo had some bad blood, whatever. They had some heat. Okay, I think it's pretty well documented. Bottom line, Ferruccio Lamborghini said, that's it. I'm going to go and I'm going to build the ultimate car for the street from a performance standpoint. Built the first Lamborghini and was kind of off and running. What I'll say is between 63 and 73, Lamborghini did compete with Ferrari in many ways, not in the motorsport sense, but commercially and with vehicles going to market. From the beginning, though, Ferruccio was dead set against being motorsports first. As a matter of fact, he didn't want to build race cars. He did not want to have racing teams. And many of it's also well documented, common knowledge for automotive enthusiasts and historians to know that Lamborghini had people on the staff, engineers, designers, technicians, working for him who were actually adverse to his opinion. Like they wanted a racing team. They wanted to build race cars. They knew they had the capability, they had the technology, they had the performance. They were doing some great things. But Ferruccio said, no, that's not what I want. He wanted to build consumer cars. Now, Lamborghini faced some financial straits. 1973, the downturn, the oil crisis. Lamborghini had their bankruptcy in 1978. The company changed hands a bit. At one point, they were under Chrysler ownership, so kind of interesting, right? Ferrari at one point was owned by Fiat Chrysler. Lamborghini at one point was owned by Chrysler. Eventually, Lamborghini was sold to Volkswagen Group, okay, which is probably the best thing that could have ever happened. Just like Porsche is owned by Volkswagen. These are big businesses. We're talking about the global automotive industry. We're talking about profitability constraints. We're talking about supply chain constraints. We're talking about dealing with global regulation and changing economic dynamics. So it's not just about building really cool cars for any manufacturer, whether it's Porsche, whether it's Ferrari, whether it's Lamborghini, okay? It's a tough business. It's a business. You and I look at cars as fun, as toys, right? It's our hobby. But there is a business behind those cars. So for me, it just makes sense that you're going to have consolidation, integration across the industry. It's certainly been true for American manufacturers. It's been true in the Japanese realm. In Asia, it's been true in Europe, and certainly with the Italians. So kind of a storied history from a business standpoint, which is kind of beyond the scope of tonight's podcast. Let's get back to car guy stuff. Come on, real gearhead talk. Let's talk about the cars a bit. My key point there is that there is a storied and sometimes, a bit of a hazy past, certainly fraught with challenges on both Ferrari and Lamborghini's side, but they both come out of it. In 2023, did you know Ferrari produced about 13,600 vehicles? In 2023, Lamborghini produced about 10,112 vehicles. Those are big years for both companies, okay? And, this is kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of where things started. I also claim, look at this picture. Ferrari 308, Lamborghini Countach. Which one appeals to you more, car guys? Be honest. Okay? If money is no object and you're not buying the car as an investment, you're buying the car for you as an automotive enthusiast, which one you going with? Ferrari 308 or Lamborghini Countach? Your answer to that question tells me everything I need to know about you as an automotive enthusiast. In other words, we know whether or not you're a Ferrari guy or a Lamborghini guy. The cars are just so incredibly different in every way. And I think they appeal to different attributes of our senses as car guys, right? And as automotive enthusiasts. They're both iconic. I think any one of us, if we spot one of these cars in the parking lot or going down the road, oh, we lock onto it. We got radar lock, right? We're looking at it. We're checking it out. But again, kind of an interesting question. Ferrari versus Lamborghini. There's a difference in the cars. There's a difference in the automotive enthusiasts who prefer one over the other. It's actually fascinating. It's actually a fascinating study, and we'll get more into that as well. Guys, let's keep going. You having fun? You having fun tonight with your buddy CJ? I sure hope you are. I'm having a blast on the channel. Come on, this is what we do. We're gearheads. We talk about cars, and we really enjoy this hobby. Let's keep going. Guys, we talked about one of the primary differences between Ferrari and Lamborghini being the commitment to motorsports, to auto racing. Clearly, if you're an auto racing F1 nut, you're probably a Ferrari fan more than Lamborghini. Real talk. Lamborghini does some stuff with motorsports, mostly in kind of their own sponsored events. Okay. And then, of course, they're probably private and independent teams who do things with Lamborghini cars. And then, of course, individual Lamborghini owners do track stuff. But in terms of organizational commitment to motorsports, that's one of the big differences here. Ferrari is alive and living well in F1 Grand Prix, and Lamborghini isn't. That's a big difference, okay? But take a look at this car, the Ferrari 458. This car is absolutely gorgeous. Look at the lines. How sleek is this car? Okay, it is beautiful to the eye. And I claim this is one of the big differences between Ferraris and Lamborghinis. The Ferrari 458 is regarded by many automotive enthusiasts as one of the most beautiful supercars ever made. And I'm actually in that boat. I think the Ferrari 458 is right up there, top 10. It is absolutely up there, top 10 most beautiful. So, and by the way, Ferrari 458, can we just say naturally aspirated V8, rear mid-engine, okay? These cars are fantastic. We'll talk about the 488, which came after this, twin turbo V8, okay? A lot of things changed. The 458 was available with a Jet-Trag, German, dual clutch transmission. Hello. So was the 488. So that was a fabulous enhancement over the F430. Makes the car much more drivable and enjoyable. 458 really took us, in my mind, into that modern era where you can actually drive the Ferrari, okay? But I want you to take a look at this car, okay? And I want you to tell me what you think about this. Boom, Lamborghini Murcielago. Are you kidding me? If Ferrari produces gorgeous cars and absolutely beautiful cars, which I claim they do, Lamborghini produces shocking cars. Lamborghini produces cars that are striking. Lamborghinis are not beautiful. Your buddy CJ is going to say it. Don't get mad, Lamborghini guys. I got a Lamborghini sitting in my garage. I'll say whatever the hell I want. No, but in all seriousness, Lamborghinis are not beautiful. They are shocking. They are striking to the eye. They are disruptive to look at versus the gorgeous, flowing, beautiful, sculpted lines of the Ferrari. So the first question I'm going to ask you guys tonight, Lamborghini Murcielago, mamma mia, mwah. Okay? By the way, Murcielago, what does that mean? That's a bat. It's not a Spanish fighting bull. This one is not named after a Spanish bull. The Murcielago means bat. Okay? That's what the word means. But my question for you, gearheads, your buddy CJ's at the door, and I'm asking you, Lamborghini Murcielago versus Ferrari 458. You got to pick one. Don't give me a bunch of talk. Don't give me a bunch of excuses. Tell me which one's for you, and that will tell me a lot about you as an automotive enthusiast. That'll tell me you're a Ferrari guy, okay? Because the Ferrari 458 stands for everything that is Ferrari. Motorsports heritage, beautiful, sculpted, gorgeous car. The lines are just so flowing. Lamborghini Murcielago, the predecessor to the Aventador. Hello? V12 power. Are you kidding? Look at those scissor doors. Ferrari doesn't have the scissor doors. Ferrari doesn't have the V12. Ferrari doesn't look like a war machine. Lamborghini Murcielago looks like a war machine. Be honest. This thing's coming to get you. The Ferrari's going to finesse you. The Lamborghini's coming to get you. So, to me, this is a good call, right? This is it. This is the vote. You're either a Ferrari 458 person or a Lamborghini Murcielago person. You can't be both. And I know they're two different generations, decades of cars. I know, but it's a good example, right? Because I claim the Murcielago just has so much Lamborghini styling to it, and the Ferrari 458 just has so much Ferrari styling to it. It's a good watermark. It's a good bench test, kind of like comparing the Ferrari 308 with the Lamborghini Countach. I know the cars are different, but you answer those questions for your buddy CJ, which ones you prefer. We're going to start to see where you flesh out. And be honest, right? Which one would you rather own? Guys, let's keep going. But before we do, they made about 4,100 of these Lamborghini Murcielagos. You're looking at a V12 producing about 600 to 700 horsepower, about 479 foot-pounds of torque. They made a 6.2 liter and a 6.5 liter version of this car. 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds, 200 mile per hour plus. Okay, this car was the predecessor to the Aventador. Okay, all-wheel drive, scissor doors. This V12 actually dates back to the 1960s with that original Lamborghini V12 design. This is still based on that same architecture and platform. This car had a 6-speed manual, had carbon fiber, and we're talking about 2000 to 2010. This is going back a ways, this design. This design's 25 years old, practically, right? And Lamborghini was doing some cool things, but again, Lamborghini versus Ferrari. You look at that Murcielago, look at that 458. You tell me which one's for you. And that's going to kind of be the story. Let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going. I hope you're having as much fun as I am talking about all this stuff. Here's another good example. Let me get my notes squared away. Guys, what are we looking at here? Ferrari 599 GTB, okay? V12 Grand Touring car. Look at it. Absolutely beautiful, the flowing lines of this car. Absolutely beautiful. That big long nose. Look at the roof line. Look at the rear end. Oh my God, she's absolutely gorgeous. Okay. We're talking about a 6.0 liter V12 producing about 612 horsepower, available in a 6-speed manual or the 6-speed F1 automated manual. We know about those F1 transmissions, those automated manuals in the Ferraris. You got to worry about the clutches. If you're going to buy one of these, listen, you're not buying one of these cars for economy by any stretch, but it is a concern. When you go to buy one of these, if you actually want to drive it, you got to know if it's got the F1 transmission, how's that clutch? Perhaps you can say the same thing about a manual, but you got to know about the status of your clutch, certainly on that F1. These cars are rear-wheel drive, aluminum chassis. They produced these somewhere around 2000 to 2012. So, guys, this is another good example. This is another watermark. You know, Ferrari versus Lamborghini. If we look at something like the Ferrari 599 GTB, right, and you say, oof, that car is gorgeous. Oh my God, I'm in love, right? It's just so sexy and the lines are so sleek. It's got that big performance of that V12, right? Take a look at this thing. Come on, guys. Now I got to show you the other side of the fence. Because I told you, listen, I'm not messing around tonight. I'm testing you. Your buddy CJ's putting you to the test tonight. Look at this thing. Lamborghini Miura, okay? This is really regarded by a lot of people in the automotive enthusiast hobby as the first supercar. rear mid-engine V12, okay? They produced the Miura from 1966 to 1973. We're talking about a two-seater. The car sits ridiculously low, but take a look at the styling cues, okay? Does that car not look ridiculous? This car from the 1960s had eyelashes. You ever see a sports car with eyelashes? Only Lamborghini would do that, right? But in all seriousness, guys, I claim this is yet another example. Can you imagine going back to the late 1960s, early 1970s, as an automotive enthusiast, when Lamborghini bought the Miura to market with the V12, rear mid-engine, two-seater, okay, with that appearance, those styling cues, okay, absolutely striking and shocking. Now it looks like a classic car, I know, but if you really put it in the context of 1960s, 1970s, what other automotive manufacturers were making, okay, the architecture of this car, the power plant, the lines, the colors, the very colors that Lamborghini painted these cars out of the factory. This car checks all those boxes that I mentioned earlier with the Countach. Striking, shocking, disruptive in every way. Whereas that Ferrari, the 599 that we just looked at, just really follows that consistency of beautiful, flowing, more sophisticated lines as opposed to the striking in-your-face Lamborghini. Nonetheless, these cars are collectible today. And, you know, let me know, leave me comments. Let me know what you think about the Miura. I'm not a big fan of this car. I think it's kind of cool historically to note the significance, but they never did much for me, to be honest. Guys, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Guys, look at this. Ferrari 360, available as a coupe and a Spider. The coupes are known as the Modena, and the convertibles are known as the Spider. These cars were produced from 1999 to 2004. Okay, we're talking about a 3.6 liter naturally aspirated V8, available only in rear-wheel drive. You could get a 6-speed manual. You could also get that 6-speed automated manual F1 transmission. Okay, 0 to 60, you're talking mid-fours. Okay, this car was producing about 400 horsepower. Quarter mile, you're looking at 13s, the lower side of the 13s. A couple things to know about this car. One, this is one of my favorite Ferraris, the Ferrari 360. Listen, I like both. I like the Modena as well as the Spider. By the way, the Modena is a nod to Enzo Ferrari's birthplace. For those that don't know, your buddy CJ giving you a little more trivia tonight, okay? You know, I guess what I'd say is this car being a soft top convertible, I don't think they look great, just aesthetically. I mean, the car is so gorgeous. The lines of this car, everything in the Modena, the hardtop coupe is just so gorgeous. And then they put a fabric top on it, kind of ruins it. They look awesome. They look so cool with the top down as seen here. But again, I do think sort of some of the cool factor is lost. The beauty is lost when that top is up. The other thing, too, I'll say, I know some folks who own these cars, you know, they're aging. You know, you're talking about a car, the design is like 25 years old now. You know, some of these cars are 20, 22 plus years old, okay? Listen, maintenance issues. Couple things. On the automated manuals, the F1 transmissions, you got to look out for that clutch wear. When was the last time that automated manual had the clutch replaced? And they can plug into it and then get a reading on the percentage. I know I've looked at a bunch of these cars. Make sure you find out what the clutch percentage is, the remaining clutch life. Who did the work? Are there receipts? How does it drive? These things are not real automatics. Let's be blunt. They are not dual clutch transmissions that you might find on a modern Ferrari or modern Lamborghini or modern McLaren, a Porsche. They don't shift like that. They can be rough. They can slip. Okay? They can grab. backing up can be kind of jerky, going slow, backing up a hill, something like that, stopping and starting on a hill, they can roll back. They're a little temperamental. There's a process to driving a Ferrari 360 with an automated manual. It's not the end of the world. I'm not trash talking it. I love these cars. I think they're great. I would buy one if I found the right one. Okay. All I'm telling you is it's something to be aware of. Also, the belts, the timing belts could be an issue with this generation of Ferraris. Listen, anytime you buy a supercar that's 20 years old, maintenance is going to be a consideration. Don't buy one of these if you don't have the disposable income to maintain it. It would be absurd. Your buddy CJ would never tell you to do that. These are just some of the low-hanging fruit things that I got to tell you. Listen, here's another bit of fun. Let's have fun tonight. Let's be honest. From a profile standpoint, this car is absolutely beautiful. Now, many people will note that the Chevrolet Corvette C8 has a similar profile. Don't lie. You see it too. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. But I do think it's funny. You can make fun of Chevy guys, right? And tell them, yeah, that C8 has some of the styling cues and lines of a Ferrari. It only took you 25 years to copy the design from Ferrari. Come on, we got to have fun tonight. We having fun. But I do love the 360. I think that these cars have kind of come into their own. For a while there before COVID, these were a super bargain. I mean, you could snag these on the cheap, dare I say, but they've really come into their own. They've appreciated quite a bit from where they were just a few years ago. I think the headlights are starting to look a bit dated on these. I love the lines of this car. What do you guys think? Absolutely beautiful. But the headlights are starting to show their age a little bit. So I want to show you something else. Check this out, guys. We're talking about Ferrari here. We're digging in a bit on Ferrari. Why? Because we're car guys and it's fun and that's what we do. But take a look at this. Now we're talking about the Ferrari F430, which in many ways is an updated version of the Ferrari 360. So the F430, produced from 2005 to 2010, had pretty much the same chassis and platform as the 360, but certainly different appearance and styling cues. They updated the appearance. I say this car is actually a bridge between that dated look maybe of the 360 and like the 458s, the 488s, the modern era. It's a bit of a bridge car, and I think it bridges the gap nicely. And I think it would be hard if you're not an automotive enthusiast and you're not a Ferrari enthusiast. If you looked at an F430, you might have a real hard time figuring out what decade it's from. Like, really, how old is this car? If it was in great shape, I think a lot of people would have a hard time telling you if whether or not that was a new Ferrari or an old Ferrari or what. But let's get back to some of the particulars. It's got a new engine, a 4.3 liter, producing about 483 horsepower and about 343 foot-pounds of torque. The car is faster than the 360 and quicker. You're looking at 0 to 60 in about 3.6 seconds. You could also get it in a coupe or the convertible. I think aesthetically, I like the F430. I kind of prefer the lines of the 360, but I like the headlights and the wheels and actually kind of the interior, the dash layout of the F430. The F430, has some of the modern elements that you just don't get in a 360. So I think it's a better car in many ways. Still has that automated manual, that in-gold dual clutch in the F430 or the manual transmission. So anyway, just things to consider when in the market for a used Ferrari. 360s and 430s in many ways are attainable and within range maybe for frugal automotive enthusiasts looking for something at that next tier. But you got to be concerned about maintenance, no doubt. Guys, let's keep going. Look at this. The green machine. Lamborghini Gallardo. What are we talking about here? This really brings us into the modern era of Lamborghini, if you will. These cars had a run from 2004 to 2014. They made a lot of these. At the time, the Gallardo was the most highest production Lamborghini in history. The Huracan has surpassed it. We'll get to that in a minute. This car has a V10 producing 500 to 570 horsepower. You could get the Gallardos in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So there's a big difference, guys. Let's just stop right there. If you're into the Ferrari, the 458s, the 430s, what have you, in this era, and you want that rear-wheel drive with the motorsports heritage and the sexy Ferrari lines, you'd go in that direction. You'd go 458, you go 430. If you want all-wheel drive and higher performance in many ways, okay, and you want the scream of a V10 and some of these extreme, shocking styling cues, you go with the Gallardo. Again, I'm going to be blunt. Real talk tonight. Lamborghini Gallardo is not a beautiful car. Some might say the Gallardo is ugly. Real talk, Gallardo is not a good-looking car when you compare it to like a Ferrari 458. Ferrari 458, gorgeous, flowing lines. Lamborghini Gallardo is sharp and in your face and aggressive. Lamborghini Gallardo looks mean and nasty, and the Ferrari 458 looks sophisticated, okay? So listen, beyond that, if you look at the specs, what are you into, right? You've got a 6-speed manual available in the Gallardo. You can get a 6-speed automated manual. Again, it's not a dual clutch transmission. People ask me about Gallardos all the time, and I tell them, you got to go drive one. It's not the same as a Huracan. Huracan has the dual clutch. It's a much more modern platform. You drive a Gallardo, they're great. I have nothing against the Gallardos. I think they're great cars in many ways. People build these cars up 1,200 horsepower like nothing. Twin turbos, the dual snails. They put the dual snails on the Gallardo. These things put out big numbers. Okay? But real talk, it's going to be a different driving experience with that automated manual transmission. It's going to slip. It's going to drag. It's going to be harsh as opposed to the dual clutch. Okay, these cars were also available in convertibles. They called them Spiders. Same thing applies, though, as what I told you with the Ferraris. The 458s. Listen, I'm sorry. The 430s, the 360s with those rag tops, the soft tops. Same thing applies here with the Gallardo. They had those soft tops, and I don't know. It's like a piece of fabric on top of a really cool exotic supercar. Kind of takes something away from it. But listen, you put that top down, nobody's cooler than you in your Lamborghini Gallardo. I get it. Convertible people, do you. But the coupes look better. Let's just be honest. Again, V10 performance, 0 to 60, mid to low 0 to 60, mid 3s to low 4s in your Gallardo, depending on configuration and year. Quarter mile, low 12s to mid 11s. So these are quick and fast cars, okay? And, they built about 14,000 of these. There was a heck of a production run. They started out with a V10 at 5 liters and went up to 5.2 liters. I told you the horsepower range was 500 to 570 horsepower, I believe, on these. Absolutely striking cars, cool cars. Now, real talk, Gallardos are showing their age. I do think now that we've all seen the newer Aventadors and the newer Huracans, you look at a Gallardo, a lot of people say, what is that? How old is that? Like, it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't hold up well against those cars, but it's kind of like putting a Ferrari 360 next to a 458 or, an F8 or something like that. Like, there's going to be something lost over the years. And it just is what it is. But you can snag these. Listen, I don't want to call them performance bargains, but the Gallardos right now are at a price point, 100K, 125K, 150K for a really nice one, depending on spec. Listen, the thing you got to be aware of, this could be a 20-year-old, 15, 20-year-old exotic Italian supercar. Like, you better have some money set aside for maintenance and for things that could go wrong. It's just something to be aware of. But Gallardo, big success, smash hit for Lamborghini. They produced 14,000 of these guys, but over the course of 10 years. Let's keep going. Look at this beauty, guys. I just wanted to bring it back. The Ferrari 458 Italia. You know, look at the lines of this car. Many regard this as the most beautiful Ferrari ever produced, or at least top 10. You know, look at those flowing lines. It's just everything that Ferrari stands for aesthetically. And the car was a big step up in performance. You're talking about rear-wheel drive produced from 2010 to 2015, 4.5-liter V8 producing 562 horsepower at about 9,000 RPM. This car just screams. Big thing here is we got a dual clutch, 7-speed jet drag transmission. Okay, that's important because this is really the first Ferrari supercar, I claim, that you could really drive with that rear mid-engine look with a dual clutch transmission. This is the one I would snag from that era if I was going for a Ferrari. I just really think they're special cars, that naturally aspirated V8, 0 to 60 in the low threes, 200 mile per hour car, quarter mile in the 10s. You're doing 10s in the quarter mile with a Ferrari 458. Absolutely beautiful cars and just super high performance. And again, you compare that with, you know, some of these Lamborghini designs that we've looked at and a couple that we're about to look at. The flowing lines, the sleekness, the beauty, the sexy, sophisticated styling, that rear-wheel drive, rear mid-engine, high performance, seating for two. Compare that with Lamborghini, it's just about polar opposites, with the exception of they're both super high performance cars. Other than that, there's actually quite a few differences in ownership and in experience. Guys, let's take a look at what came next, because this can be a bit polarizing. I want to put this up and I want to look at this together because this is important. This is important. Guys, Ferrari 488 is polarizing. First of all, you've got the 3.9 liter twin turbo V8. So the 458 was naturally aspirated. This one's got twin turbos. And right off the bat, you'll hear a lot of automotive enthusiasts and Ferrari enthusiasts complain about that. And they say, well, I would never own one because it's turbocharged. Listen, I'm not in that camp. I would absolutely own a 488. Your buddy CJ was looking at a 488 this weekend. Spider, absolutely beautiful. Black on black on black. And I'm not a big fan of black cars, but this car just did something for me. And heck, I'm still thinking about it, but that's a whole other story. I digress. You're talking about 661 horsepower and 561 foot-pounds of torque. Now, this is not the base 488. This is a special edition, obviously, but it's got the same German transmission, that Jet-Trag dual clutch as in the 458, available in a Spider or a Coupe. Again, you see that the styling cues are a bit, dare I say, more aggressive in a 488. I can see why many enthusiasts consider the 458 to be a much better looking car. It all kind of depends on what you're into. I say, why not both? I'm into both, okay? I think they're both fantastic cars. Guys, let's keep going. Let's go back to the Lamborghini side of the fence, shall we? Look at this. Lamborghini Huracan. Are you kidding me? The highest produced Lamborghini of all time. This is a successful supercar for the modern era, produced by Lamborghini. Huracan had a run from 2014 to 2024. V10 engine, naturally aspirated, 570 to 630 horsepower, depending on year and model. 540 to 560 foot-pounds of torque, somewhere around there. Quarter mile, you're in the mid-10s for the all-wheel drive, okay? These are very fast cars. These are ridiculous. Everything in a Huracan is turned up to 11. Let me tell you that right now. You drive this car, you in for an experience. I'm not kidding. It's an experience not to be missed. It's pretty intense. And I've driven pretty much everything. there's something wild about a Huracan, right? You want to get the right spec, no doubt. But you get into a Huracan, it's wild. And there may be cars that are more wild, but Huracan is wild. 0 to 60, about 2.5 seconds, somewhere around there. 200 mile per hour car, as I mentioned, the most highly produced Lamborghini supercar of all time at about 20,000 over the years. Okay. You know, one thing I'll say about the Huracan, in full transparency, I own one of these cars. I've driven a bunch of Ferraris. I have not owned a Ferrari yet. I will at some point. I got to scratch that itch at some point. You know, the one thing I'll say about the Huracan, after I just got done telling you how wild it is to drive one, and that's the way I would describe it, you know, there is something that you sacrifice, you know, that you know, you have to make some compromises. The roof line is very low. If you're a taller guy or a bigger guy getting in, you know, you got to be cool with that, kind of crouching down. You know, depending on how tall you are, you may not be able to see in certain driving conditions. You know, when you're right up on a light at an intersection, if that light is right over your head, you might have a challenge. If you're an NBA player or a WWE superstar, these cars are probably not ideal for road trips. By the way, the coupes, the hardtop coupes, have more space in them by way of the design and architecture than the convertibles do. The Spiders with that rag top, just like Ferrari was doing for a while. I claim the Huracan with the soft top, you lose something aesthetically. It takes away from the appearance when the top is up. When the top is down, it's a very cool scene. You cruising around in your Lamborghini Huracan with the top down. Now that's really cool. With the top up, that fabric kind of ruins it. And if you're a bigger dude and you like a bit more space, don't go with the Spider. You'll be more comfortable in the hardtop coupe. But the one thing I will say for the Huracans is reliability. The modern Lamborghini products, Lamborghini has really gotten reliability and drivability right. You will routinely see Huracans with 20, 30, 40, 60,000 miles, 80,000 miles on them. No joke. People drive the wheels off these cars. Your buddy CJ drives his as much as I possibly can. Okay? You don't hear that a lot from Ferrari people. A lot of times, Ferrari people will put as few miles on their cars as they can. Okay? And you'll hear about negative ownership experiences much more with Ferrari people than with Lamborghini people. That's just real talk. I'm just being blunt. And it's not because I own one. Don't even say that. I'm a car guy. I'm not necessarily loyal to any one brand. I've owned just about everything I ever wanted to own. And I keep buying cars, right? Your buddy CJ is like you. I'm a car guy. And who knows what I'll get next. But what I will tell you is, generally speaking, if you talk to enough exotic car and supercar owners, people got solid ownership experiences with Porsche mostly. People got solid ownership experiences with Lamborghinis, with the modern ones. Ferrari, not so much. McLaren, not so much. It's hit or miss. I'm not here to trash Ferrari. I'm not here to trash McLaren. I'm just telling you it's hit or miss. I owned a McLaren. I had some challenges with it. Knock on wood, I haven't had those kinds of challenges with my Huracan, okay? But again, another example of a car that is striking and shocking to look at, Lamborghini Huracan, but is not really a beautiful car. Whereas the Ferrari 458 or 488 are more flowing and have that lovely silhouette and styling. So I claim that's the big difference. Otherwise, listen, pick one, right? If you're in the market for one of these cars, you must be doing something right. You going with a 488, you going with a Huracan. There's really no bad choice. It kind of depends on what you want, as long as your eyes wide open, good, bad, and ugly on these cars. Guys, I want to look at another super important Lamborghini with you. All right, here it is. The king of the bulls, the Lamborghini Aventador, produced from 2012 to 2022, replaced by the Revoluto, okay, which is going to be hitting the streets soon. This car has a V12 all-wheel drive, 6.5 liter, okay? Has the scissor doors, about 700 to 770 horsepower. It's only the second V12 design from Lamborghini, which I think is kind of interesting since the beginning. Now, guys, these cars are epic in terms of their presence. I think this is another example of a car that is striking and shocking to look at, but by no means is it beautiful. And I just think that's an example. It's cool, it's in your face, but it ain't beautiful. You just can't say it. Look at the Ferrari. The Ferrari is a more aesthetically pleasing car with a more, the Ferrari is a gorgeous car, like an F8 compared to this or something like that. SF90, you name it. Look at the Aventador and you say, wow, that thing looks harsh. That thing looks mean. That thing looks like it's coming for your soul. And that's what it is, right? And listen, these cars are all over the map in terms of value as well. This happens to be an SVJ, which is sort of that track-focused, extreme high-performance version. Big money car. This is a big money car. You can get a base Aventador, an Aventador S, something like that, at a lower price point, but you're still looking 300, 400, 500K to get into an Aventador, one that you'd actually want. So, big money cars, but also so extreme and just absolutely wild. These cars, the Aventadors, also have that F1 style automated manual transmission. These are not dual clutches. So that's another thing to know. Your driving experience in an Aventador versus a Huracan will be different. Which one's better? I think it's more about the ownership experience and the overall, the way the car makes you feel. Now, obviously, the Aventador is going to be more extreme and is going to have that V12. The sound is just going to take over your mind and soul. Absolutely. But which one's better for you as an automotive enthusiast? I claim you got to drive both. You say, well, should I spring for the Aventador or should I go with a Huracan? I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. How often you plan on driving it? Is it your primary exotic supercar or do you have multiple in your collection? What are you buying it for? Are you going to track it or are you not going to track it? Are you going to do road trips or are you not? Is it just going to be a weekend cruiser? Or are you going to actually put some miles on this car? Okay. Lots of questions. What's your budget? That's going to be a big factor. Okay. Listen, if you have to have the V12, you've heard these things, you put exhaust on these things, you're going to cause deafness all over the county with your Aventador SVJ. They're just so ridiculously loud if you're all about that life. And of course, it looks like nothing else on the road. This looks like something out of a video game that's driven on down the road. It also comes at a very high price point compared to some of these other cars we looked at. So again, a little bit about the Lamborghini Aventador. Now out of production, but we've got the Revoluto coming on strong to replace it. Okay, guys, now we're going to get controversial. We are going to get controversial because we got to talk about Ferrari and Lamborghini's SUVs. What is this thing? Ferrari Purosangue. What is this thing? Ferrari Purosangue. Let me tell you something. This literally translates to pure blood or purebred Ferrari. This is the Ferrari SUV. What do you think about it? I'm still determining where I'm at with this vehicle. You're looking at a $400,000 SUV. It is a V12. It is every bit the Ferrari. It has a lot of those supercar design cues and styling elements and performance elements, but it's an SUV. Okay? I'm not nuts about this design yet. I don't know. What do you guys think? It still kind of has that SUV thing, kind of like Honda CR-V, Mazda, every other SUV on the road. Sorry, I gotta say it. Yeah, I know. It's still a Ferrari, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying this design has not grown on me yet. Now, I haven't seen one in person yet. I'm eager to. But Ferrari getting a piece of the action in the SUV market. On top of that, it's my understanding these are pretty much all sold out. Like they're doing something right. There is demand for this vehicle. There is a class of buyer, and there is a market for a super high-end, exotic, super SUV, and that's what the Pro Sangue is. So, gonna be kind of interesting to see how this all plays out when they start hitting the roads. Are people gonna daily these things? Are people gonna take their Ferrari SUVs to the supermarket and load it up with groceries? You're gonna put a baby seat in the back of your Ferrari Pro Sangue? I want to know. What about going to Lowe's or Home Depot? You're going to put cement, mulch, and various tools and supplies in the back of your Ferrari SUV? These are things I need to know. But guys, let me know what you think. Now, let's take a look at this thing together. Because, if we look at one, we got to look at the other. Lamborghini Urus. What about this thing? I remember when I first started seeing these, I saw my first one when I was out in Los Angeles a number of years ago, and it was striking. It was shocking. I can't say I liked it when I first saw it in person, but it left an impression, okay? This aesthetic, this vehicle has grown on me. It's taken a couple of years. I do think the Lamborghini Urus is a really cool SUV, V8 twin turbo. I think they start somewhere in the twos. You find them for $250, $275, $325, $350. They've got special high performance editions. Listen, it's about as extreme and shocking and striking as you can get in an SUV. You can argue that a Tesla Cybertruck is equally crazy, but for a whole different reason. It's not in the same class as this vehicle. I know. Don't give me the hate, guys. We're having fun tonight. But in all seriousness, it still has that striking and shocking feature of all modern Lamborghinis, but it's in an SUV. And listen, these things have sold great guns as well. I don't know what's going to outsell what in terms of Ferrari Pro Sangue versus the Lamborghini Urus, but I know they've sold a lot of these Uruses. They've really caught fire with certain demographics, and it seems like Ferrari will be successful as well. Although my expectation is that the Ferrari at that significantly higher price point will probably do lower numbers, especially as Ferrari continues to focus on other elements of hybrid performance cars and other things as well. So the battle of the exotic SUVs, for me, I'm leaning more towards the Urus. You guys let me know what you think. But guys, I wanted to come on here and talk to you a bit about Lamborghini versus Ferrari in all seriousness. And in the heads up battle and showdown, for me, right now, I lean more towards Lamborghini's products and vehicles. There are some Ferraris that I'm absolutely in love with. 458, 488, I would buy today if I found the right one, right? Ferrari 360, absolutely. Ferrari loses me, though, on some of its models. I'm really not into the vintage classic stuff as much. I understand the motorsports heritage, but for me, I don't see that there's a bad option between the two. I think if you're into the motorsports history, if you're into F1, okay, Ferrari is probably your jam. Okay, if you're into more of the flowing designs, okay, Ferrari's probably your jam. Having said that, who knows about the sticky buttons? You don't know anything about Ferraris if you don't know about the sticky buttons. Did you know that for years, Ferrari was producing cars, big money cars, where you get sticky buttons? The buttons would start to decay, and literally you'd get this goo on the interior buttons on the dashboard and on the console. Like, that's a thing. That's not Hyundai. That's not Ford. That's Ferrari. You did that. Like, Ferrari's had a lot of quality issues over the years, okay? So there's that. I will say the Ferrari interiors are generally more comfortable. Your buddy CJ's about 6'2", right? So when I get in these cars, comfort is something I'm looking for. And I have found the Ferrari interiors, the cabins, to be more comfortable and welcoming generally than the Lamborghini vehicles. Listen, in terms of driving experience, they're both fantastic. It's kind of like pick 'em, right? Your Lamborghini just always feels like, in general, I'm generalizing here, it's turned up to 11, okay? It's just so extreme in every way. Your Ferrari's going to feel a bit more refined, right? Lamborghini does more with all-wheel drive supercars and performance cars. Ferrari's more focused on the rear-wheel drive, for most of the stuff that's in the market that you might want to buy, okay? So it's kind of pick 'em, right? It's kind of a toss up, really. For me, you guys know where I lean. I do want to get Ferrari ownership. I want to scratch that itch. I want to snag one at some point. Always looking. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you apprised on that. The other thing I'll say is the battle of the SUVs. The Urus has been a successful product for Lamborghini thus far. It's not for everybody. Okay. It is extreme and striking and shocking. Some people think it's ugly, whatever. Well, now you got the Purosangue from Ferrari, and that's at a higher price point. It is not shocking and striking. It goes for more flowing lines, but I claim it also has a certain profile that blends in with many other SUVs already on the market. I know when you actually see it in front of you, you're like, wow, that is a Ferrari. That is a purebred Ferrari, just as the name indicates. But, I'm not nuts about the design yet. So for me, Lamborghini's got the nod from an SUV standpoint, if you're into that kind of thing. But guys, those are some of my thoughts on the showdown between Lamborghini and Ferrari. You guys leave me comments, right? Because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think it really is up to the individual. And listen, as automotive enthusiasts, one of the things we love talking about is cars, and we oftentimes disagree, but respectful discourse rules the day, and that's certainly what this channel is all about. So guys, leave me your comments. Ferrari versus Lamborghini, the ultimate showdown with your buddy CJ right here and tonight. I claim we got right into it. We covered a lot of ground, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me hear you. Leave me those comments. Get at me on Instagram, Hot Seat Gearheads. Let's keep the dialogue going. Guys, take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.